Hello and a very warm welcome to you this Saturday night. Welcome to our Spotlight sessions. My name is Laura and this is Kirsty, and we're delighted to have you with us. As always, we'd love to see where you're all watching from, so make sure you send us a little comment and let us know where you're at. So, SCAD Youth is absolutely thrilled to be in partnership with Stonehaven Folk Festival and Stonehaven Folk Club to bring you our lovely Spotlight sessions.
And for those of you who don't know yet, these are going to happen on the third Saturday of every month for the next year, and will be an opportunity to hear some class Scottish traditional musicians with a performance, some advice and tips on topics relevant to anyone interested in music, and fantastic chance to ask those questions that you've always wanted to.
Absolutely. And another brilliant thing about the Spotlight sessions is that they are being hosted by our very own SCAD Youth participants. So tonight we have the absolutely wonderful Abby Nye joining us. Hi, Abby.
Hi, Abby. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Good. Yes, very excited tonight. It's going to be good.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. So shall we take it away? Hand over the floor to Abby now.
Thank you, Laura and Kirsty. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all having a really good evening so far. Tonight, we have a fantastic musician here with us who's going to perform live, have a wee chat about being a multi-instrumentalist and a little bit about arrangement as well. And then we'll do some question and answers too. Make sure you get all of your questions in now. And why don't we meet our second Spotlight Sessions guest, multi-instrumentalist, Ron Jappy.
Hello.
Hi, Ron. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good.
Nice.
Yes, really good to have you on.
Yeah, I'm delighted to be here. It's exciting.
I know, and you're performing at our youth camp as well. You're one of the mentors, aren't you?
Yeah, the youth camp. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that in a couple of weeks' time. That'll be really good fun. Yeah.
I know it will. So I hear we've got a wee video from you that's going to be kind of played for all of our viewers. So can you tell me maybe a wee bit about what that's all about?
Sure. Yeah. So I play fiddle, guitar, and piano, and so I thought it would be nice to kind of showcase all three of these kind of instruments in the kind of one thing. And obviously, I can't do them all at the same time live. So I've kind of put this wee video together. And it's a track from my album, which we'll kind of chat about later on. It's a waltz that I wrote for two friends of mine, Brendan and Karen, and I wrote it as a wedding gift for them actually.
Oh, lovely.
And it's called A Day to Remember. So it's a nice wee waltz to kind of ease ourselves in at the start of this today.
Oh, that's great. I think we'll have a listen to that now, I think.
Nice.
Oh, that was lovely. I think it's very safe to say that you're very talented, Ron.
Oh,
I loved listening to all the tracks from your debut album. Can you maybe talk a wee bit about kind of what inspired the album and
sure.
kind of all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so the album is called Vincular, and really it sort of started in my head, I guess in kind of December sort of 2018 it would be. I went into the recording studio with Rachel Hare, the clarsach player that I play with quite a lot. We were recording an album in Oak Ridge Studios in Glasgow with Scott Wood, and I hadn't really worked. I'd worked a lot with Scott in the past, but we'd both been kind of really busy with different things, and I hadn't really had a chance to work with Scott in a while, and it was kind of just in this setting, everything just kind of felt really nice and natural. And I was like, you know what, I maybe thought about, oh, maybe I should do an album at some point, and I'm not really sure about what it would be and all these kind of things. And then I was kind of in, and I was like, no, I think just now is the sort of right time.
Yeah.
So kind of finished recording that, and then just kind of phoned Scott and was just like, I think I want to record my kind of own thing. I'd really love you to be involved in it, and kind of mainly in a recording and mixing way, but also playing a little bit on it. And he was like, that sounds amazing, that sounds great, let's just get some dates in the diary, and then, because if we don't book anything in, you'll just never get down to it. Is the kind of how these things sort of work. And so we kind of had something kind of in, and it just kind of gave me a kind of focus to go on, and all the ideas just kind of came from there. Really, I knew I wanted to play fiddle on it a little bit, but I kind of really wanted to mainly kind of do the kind of accompanying kind of stuff, which is something that I really love and I'm really passionate about. And there's not really albums out there that are kind of done, you know, from the role of an accompanist, where like the accompanist just does their accompaniment job the majority of the time and kind of lets the other kind of instrumentalists or singers or kind of whoever kind of shine through in their kind of part, and you're just, you know, the glue that's keeping everything together. There's not really a lot of that kind of thing. So I really passionate about kind of doing something different kind of like that. So that's why when you kind of listen to the album, it's, you know, there's me playing piano and keys in this track, or there's me playing guitar on this track and maybe a bit of fiddle on that one, or whatever else. And so it just kind of grew arms and legs from there. Really, I knew in my head who I wanted to play certain instruments or whatever. So, you know, when I had decided that, you know, Scott was going to play pipes and I was going to be playing guitar, the kind of natural person was to ask Mary McKinnon to play fiddle, because you know, they work so well together, and me and Mary have worked together a lot in the past, and all three of us kind of work together. And Mark, who plays drums, is a great friend and an amazing drummer, and I just kind of knew straight away if there was any kind of sort of drums happening, then he would be the guy that would be doing it. And turns out there's drums on every track. It was it started, like I say, from just kind of nothing really, of just booking kind of dates blindly, and then it kind of it went from there. And then we got
that's really good
album done out of it. So
I know it's really good. So I think we're all very interested in kind of hearing you talk a little bit tonight about arrangement and things about, you know, like the importance of having arrangement skills and being able to kind of accompany yourself as well as kind of play the main melody. I think that's definitely something that I personally am really interested in. So, and obviously it's so prominent in your album as well. I thought that would be kind of something great to kind of find a little bit more about. So fire away.
Sure. So I mean, I think for me, you know, I sort of started life off as a fiddle player, kind of growing up. I had some really inspirational teachers who were great, and just not just on the kind of fiddle front, but really kind of, you know, opening your horizons to all sorts of different music. And I was really fortunate in that kind of way that I had really kind of supportive tutors and teachers when I was younger and growing up, and even then when I moved to kind of uni afterwards, I was fortunate again to have people like Alistair McCulloch, who is, very kind of broad range of musical tastes, and kind of encouraged me to just, go down any kind of avenue I really wanted. And I guess that's where my kind of journey sort of started. And I love being the accompanist in any kind of setting, because I think it allows you to sort of take a piece of music and take the whole thing into, the next stage of its kind of musical life. It kind of can start as something, a simple melody or lyrics or something, and then you have this kind of open canvas to do so much. And I think kind of sharing that kind of musical experience as an accompanist with everyone is really, really great. And like the album, for example, it was kind of all about taking things from that kind of unique kind of perspective. And there's something really special I find about taking a piece of music and sort of throwing all sorts of kind of ideas at it, and kind of thinking, oh, what do we think of this and what do we think of that? And certainly in the case of my album as well, I was kind of keen to sort of everybody to have their kind of say. And because everyone is kind of everyone's kind of musical voice is important, and even though it was kind of my album, and I was kind of directing it, as if you want to think of it like that, I think it's still important that when you're working with people that everyone's voices can be heard. So we all kind of, as much as I had the kind of bulk of the idea sort of in my head, and kind of the general sort of path that I wanted things to kind of go down, I was very keen to sort of try everybody's ideas and give everyone a kind of fair shot. And I think that's a really important thing, if you're working in a group setting or a band setting, or even if you're, the kind of person controlling things and, you've created a kind of band behind you. I think it's really important to sort of, hear everybody else's ideas, because some people might approach things completely differently to you, and it then helps you to kind of add these things to your sort of arsenal of kind of ideas that you can use. So yeah, I think it's like I say, it's really important to sort of listen to others and kind of work with others, as well as having your own kind of ideas. And for me, accompaniment in general, sort of, it probably helped me that I was a fiddle player first, so I had a kind of strong understanding of kind of melodies and tunes and the direction that they would go in, just from years of going that, and then the kind of accompaniment thing sort of came later. But it then meant that the ideas that I had would then feel quite natural to sort of work with melodies, because I've had that kind of experience in kind of learning the fiddle growing up. And I kind of try and put that into all of my sort of work that I do. I always think that kind of listening to all genres of music actually is kind of really important for sort of arranging and, particularly accompaniment ideas. There's a guitarist and a singer from America called John Mayer, and he's kind of like a sort of poppy kind of blues kind of guy. But sometimes when you listen to his kind of approach of when he's accompanying himself playing guitar, singing and playing guitar, there's kind of elements of what kind of folk music kind of is in a lot of ways. His kind of approach to that is very rhythmic, and the rhythmic feels and pulses that he kind of does definitely translate across genres. And I just find that sort of thing very interesting. And I would say that if, particularly if you're kind of interested in sort of kind of rhythmic ideas that maybe exist in kind of other genres, then kind of look at sort of John Mayer's kind of stuff that he does when he does kind of talks in Berklee College of Music in America, where he kind of talks about the importance of when you're playing guitar anyway, you know, your right hand is equally as important as your left hand, and it's almost about, you want to sort of be able to split your brain in half. You know, if your left hand knows up and down the neck, for example, of the guitar, where it's going to go and what your chord choices are, and you know what the runs are that you might do, or you know your scales or whatever, then you can kind of focus on doing lots of different intricate ideas with your right hand. And I think for me, watching that, I was like, oh, that's a great way of thinking of that. So I think listening to different genres of music and kind of seeing how other people approach things is really important for your own kind of development, really. And you can there's nothing wrong with sort of taking, you know, ideas from different people and like applying it to your own, even though they're in a different genre. And that I kind of, a little bit of that sort of came through on my album as well. I did there's a track called a place called Home. It's called written about Finechty, actually, about where I grew up and kind of my mum and dad's house and stuff. And it was a sort of very different thing for me. I'd never really kind of tackled sort of lyrics before, but I was really kind of keen to kind of have something that I'd maybe sort of co-written with Ainsley, who kind of sang the two songs on the album. But also I kind of wanted it to sort of feel and be a bit different. So it's almost it's like a pop track, kind of almost, you know, it's this, you know, electric guitars and guitar solos and organs and pianos and stuff. There's nothing really kind of folky or tragedy about it. But it doesn't, at the same time, it doesn't really feel out of place in the kind of context of the whole album, which I think is nice. It kind of fits in well, even though the other stuff is, you know, a couple of tracks before it is, you know, pipes and fiddle tunes. So it was definitely fully in the kind of folk music kind of bracket. But kind of putting that track on at the end just kind of was a nice kind of closing to everything. And it kind of showed, for me, that was the kind of point that, you know, you're kind of showing that you can be interested in kind of lots of different genres of music, and they can all kind of come in to your arsenal of kind of things that you can use to arrange anything, really. Because I mean, pop music in general is pretty diverse. There's kind of lots of kind of sub categories in that. So it was nice to kind of get that on. So I think that's probably the kind of main things I would say is, you know, arrangement idea wise, I would definitely be kind of listening to all genres of music, really, and not just kind of, as much as it's great, you know, for talking about traditional music, to kind of, you know, focus in on that, and kind of even subgenres within that is great. But equally, don't be kind of afraid to kind of go out the box and kind of explore with other people. I was keen, for me anyway, I was kind of keen for that to sort of, like I say, come through on the album. And that's why, you know, you and Malik, who kind of played a lot of the kind of electric guitar stuff on the album, although I kind of knew the kind of parts in my head, I kind of knew what I wanted him to do. And he's not a folky guy at all, you know what I mean? He's in a band that is, you know, like played sold out, you know, pop shows in Belgium, and kind of done, you know, support slots in arena tours supporting Westlife, and kind of support slots for the Sugar Babes and all these kind of things. So he's fully into the pop music camp. he's that kind of guy. But I think it's important to kind of involve other people from different genres in your kind of own thing as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's some really good stuff, actually. I kind of think that that's really important as well as folk musicians, because obviously, like, there's so much we can do as folk musicians, but
yeah,
like we kind of need to I feel like now we're kind of more branching out to more to other genres, especially.
Totally. And people love kind of working with folk musicians, because we're kind of open to anything, really. Like,
exactly, yeah.
We're not really fussy, you know. Like,
no, not at all.
Oh yeah, cool. Let's do that. Let's give that a bash and see how it sounds. And if it sounds
know,
good, great. If it
definitely.
sounds a bit pants, you're like, oh, well, we'll just, we'll maybe like
I'll
work
change
on
it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's I think it's really it's an important skill. I think just kind of being able to kind of make these connections with kind of different people that are maybe not in your kind of scene, in your kind of circle, And if nothing else, it might then lead to something else for all you know.
Yeah.
You never know how these things kind of pan out.
I know, definitely. So I think we'll just say hello to everybody who's watching.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we've got a few comments in.
Oh, nice.
So if you're on, please let us know where you are coming from and where you're listening. We've got a few questions here for you, Ron.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The first one from Callum Spears. He's asked, "What is your favourite thing about being a musician?"
Ooh, good question.
That's quite a broad question, I think.
It is. I think it just sort of, you meet so many different people. You get so many amazing opportunities to kind of experience new places and, perhaps even travel abroad and experience new cultures and other people's traditions that they have that are maybe similar to Scotland, but equally or maybe completely different. And just kind of seeing, different kind of people's kind of approach to life and, different cultures is amazing. I love trying new food, actually, is amazing. And I think as a musician, you get to travel lots of places. So like there's so much, food and cuisine kind of around the world that you just get to try through, being a musician, that I think is incredible, It's really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got a wee question for you, actually.
Yeah.
Out of all of your instruments, because obviously, like, you play fiddle, piano, and guitar, do you have a favourite?
Some days, yeah. I think you know how it is. Some days you just kind of feel that like some instruments are just going better than others.
Yeah,
So
I can definitely relate to that one.
It depends on on how it is that morning when you get out of bed.
Yeah.
But well, today actually I'm loving the fiddle today because I was in a rehearsal for most of today where I played my fiddle all day. It's been the first time in quite a while that I've played the fiddle for like a prolonged period of time. It was a kind of 12-6 rehearsal, so it was like a 6-hour thing, and it was great because it's certainly probably the first time since kind of COVID has hit that I've had a proper kind of run at it like that.
I know.
So certainly today the fiddle is probably the favourite today. So.
Oh, that's good. That's what I definitely like to hear. Got another question in as well, from my mum, actually.
Oh, yes.
She has asked if you have any live gigs planned at the moment.
If I have any live gigs, I've got a couple of kind of online ones happening. Oh no, I do have a live gig. Sorry, I'm doing one in Eden Court with Rachel in September.
Right.
Now let me have a look and see, and I'll tell everybody when that is right now. Let me check the diary because we just got it confirmed the other day. The 3rd of September, Friday, the 3rd of September. Yeah, I'm doing a live gig with Rachel in Eden Court in Inverness.
That'd be good.
There's kind of slowly kind of coming in now of sort of kind of background kind of music kind of things, maybe for a wedding or corporate things, are kind of slowly kind of like creeping back in a little bit now that kind of, numbers are kind of a bit bigger. So there's a few men kind of coming in. But yeah, so the 3rd of September will be a good one. I'm doing an online gig with Joy Dunlop on the 24th. So that's next. Oh, this Thursday.
This
we're
Thursday.
doing that. Yeah, so I'll be kind of sharing some stuff about that this week. So if you don't already, then follow my kind of social media pages on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and whatnot, and I'll be kind of spamming all that with with all the stuff for this week. So it'll feel like a live gig for me and Joy because we'll be doing it together. We'll be going out on, I think it's on Zoom or on an online platform of some sort, but we'll be playing together in the same room. So it will probably feel quite live.
Yeah, no, that'll be really good. So my mum's also asked as well.
Yes.
She knows that you and Rachel did a tour in New Zealand not too
Oh,
long
yeah.
ago, a few years back. Have you got any highlights from that tour?
Loads. New Zealand, yeah, New Zealand was amazing. We actually managed to get back from New Zealand just before the whole country locked down, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it
That's
was maybe
really
like 10 days or something that we were back, and then the whole country like kind of locked down.
Yeah.
So, but that was amazing. We were there for 5 weeks, I think.
Mhm.
Absolutely kind of stunning country. Very kind of similar to Scotland in a lot of ways. A lot of kind of Scottish people over there. A lot of kind of Scottish, kind of street names and kind of place names and
Oh,
stuff like that.
wow.
Yeah, which is amazing. I would say a big highlight of that was we did a performance in a care home for some residents, and it turned out that it was also this woman's birthday that we were there for, and she was 100 that day, and I was like, oh man, that's
Wow.
amazing.
That's
and
a
then
big
it also
one.
turns out that she was from Shetland. Yeah, she was from Lerwick. I was like,
Oh my
what?
gosh.
This is so weird. But
How
it was amazing.
coincidental.
Yeah, so we just had like a lovely kind of wee chat with her on her birthday, and kind of yeah, it was amazing, and I definitely still remember that. I was like, this is wow. We are far away from Shetland right now.
Yeah.
Like, we're a long
But
way.
actually, you're very close at the same time.
Yeah. So
Goodness me.
so that was a good highlight, and just kind of generally, a lot of the performances and things were amazing, and we we kind of got to travel kind of to both islands, to the North Island and the South Island, and kind of saw quite a lot, which was really amazing. They're also very into coffee over there, so if you're a big coffee drinker, I would recommend you go. They actually, instead of, like, they've got a class on it in school, so you know how like we've got HE, they've got a
Oh
class
my
on like
God.
how to make coffee. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. It's
That
like
is so cool.
it's great.
Wow.
It's like a big thing over there.
Wow, that's definitely something for being on tour.
Yeah.
That's great. I don't think we have any more comments. I think we have all definitely learned something new today. And it's all very exciting because next month is going to be an extra special Spotlight Sessions. And we will not only be having a tutor from our 2021 SCAT Youth Camp, but we will also be showcasing some of the Youth Camp participants as well.
Oh, wow.
So just remember, dates for your diary. I think it's coming along the screen just now. Between the 12th and the 16th of July, there's a wee poster there. The
Nice.
online SCAT Youth Camp will be taking place and is open to all young folk between the ages of 6 and 26. In total, there is 11 different instrument choices suitable for anyone who's a beginner to intermediate level, and even advanced players can join into. And the best of it is that it is completely free.
Nice.
I love going to youth camp every year. I've been since it started in 2019. That was the only in-person year, unfortunately. But we did it all online last year, and it was fantastic. I took part in the participants' concert, and also featured on the Stonehaven Folk Festival as well. As kind of Kirsty and Laura were saying at the beginning, that we're partnered with Stonehaven Folk Festival, which is a fantastic kind of folk festival for all people of all ages, and it was really great to be part of that last year. If you want to check it out, just head to www.scottishculture.org. So yeah, and it'll be great to kind of see what you've got for the kind of on offer for the youth camp as well, Ron. That'll be really exciting. What are you? What's your instrument? What are you kind of teaching?
I'm doing guitar. At the youth camp, we'll be looking at kind of accompaniment stuff, learning some new kind of chordal ideas, and kind of approaches to kind of melody and all that kind of thing.
Fantastic!
I'm really looking forward.
Oh, that'll be so good.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
So yeah, unfortunately, it is now time for us to all say goodbye. A massive thank you, Ron, for joining me here tonight, and to all of our lovely viewers at home. We'll be back on Saturday the 17th of July, just at the end of the SCAT Youth Camp. So make sure you come back for our next Spotlight session. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. Bye.
Bye.